Now, can everyone please welcome our first guest speaker, Keyarnee, who is a Create Young Consultant from New South Wales.
So I just want to start by saying how great the last 2 days were. I've participated in a couple of things, heard amazing things from young people, and I've actually heard some really creative ideas. I'd like to start by saying my name is Schaefer, and I'm a former ward of the state. I just want to say what a blessing it is to be here today, because I'm standing in front of some of the most strong young people in Australia, so thank you. Before I begin, I'd just like to say, I'm not what happened to me, I am who I choose to become. Having spent 13 years of my life as a ward of the state, and another 9 years in counting, being involved in and trying to make a change to the system, some would say I'm an expert. But being an expert doesn't make you right, as you are the expert of your own life. The reason I'm here to speak today is because sometimes the things that have hurt you the most are the very things we can use to help and inform others, and the situations you have survived, someone else may be struggling with. My journey started when I was 6 months old and my mum left me with my father. I was then taken from my biological father and stepmother when I was 5 years old, and for very good reason. Did you know when most kids are 5, their parents are teaching them not to take candy from strangers? But children who go into care get told to move in with strangers. Ironic. And yes, I did go to a family of strangers, so to speak, but I was lucky. Slowly I grew to trust and love these strangers, and they soon became my mum, dad, sister and brothers. Then when I was about 12, my foster family got bigger again. I got a brand new little foster sister. Oh no, that was when I was 7, sorry. Then when I was 12, my family got bigger again and I got 2 little foster brothers. This is still my family today, so when you hear me say mum or dad or talk about my family, I'm actually referring to these people. My foster family always supported me and allowed me to express myself. They never judged me based on my biological parents, and they even fought for my voice to be heard when it came to docs. My foster home was a place that consisted of 4 different last names, but it was full of genuine love. I was happy here. It was my home. However, life took a bad turn around the age of 15. I had a disagreement with my mum and I was removed from my foster family. Within a few hours of being at the doc's office, I was placed in a car and told I was going to a new foster home. It was quite late at night, I was scared and I just wanted to go home. But docs wouldn't let me. I felt so alone and hopeless. But the worst part was that nobody explained to me why this was happening and that I wouldn't be allowed to go back home to live ever. I never knew my life could be packed into a few bags and changed so quickly. However, my family didn't give up on me even after I was removed. Between the ages of 15 and not even 16, I lived in 2 foster homes and a refuge. At both foster homes, I was ignored, and at times it felt like they disliked or even hated me. I was also hit by one of my carers during this time. After being sent to the refuge and being known as the girl who cried, I was fed up, and so I ran away. I stopped going to school, dropping out not even halfway through year 9. I was couch surfing, partying, ended up in a bad relationship and even lived with my biological father, which was the worst decision I ever made, but I felt like I had no choice. During this time, nobody called me, nobody tried to find me, nobody contacted the police, nothing. It was at this time that I was confused about who I was, where I fitted in, who I was meant to be and where it was exactly that I fitted in. I remember coming across a quote one day. I'm not what happened to me, I am who I choose to become. It was then that I realised I was whatever I wanted to be. I wasn't my biological parents' mistakes. I wasn't what others thought I was, and I sure as hell wasn't going to be defined by the words foster kid or Schaefer. When I was 17, turning 18, I decided that I wanted to change people's thoughts about me, about what a foster kid was. So with the support of my mum, I contacted docs and asked them to call the refuge because I was going there. In fact, I actually think I demanded it. Because this time, I was doing things my way. The day after I arrived at the refuge, I enrolled in school. Yes, an actual high school. And I received my Year 10 certificate on my 18th birthday. I was the first person in my biological family to complete my Year 10. But then I hit yet another problem. I was 18. And everyone here knows what can happen to an 18-year-old foster kid. Yep, that's right. I got kicked out right after Christmas. I had nowhere to go once again, although I did spend Christmas with my family. But docs informed them that if they allowed me to live there, they would remove my foster sister and my foster brothers from my mum and dad's care. I thought this was unfair as we'd all lived together before. Docs took me away, but according to docs, they were not my family. You see, from around the age of 12 to, well, even now, I've managed to dislike and disagree with most things about the foster care system. My caseworkers, of which I had many, their managers, also quite a few. Some of my carers, contact visits, you name it, I probably dislike or disagree with it. I think that's because I knew from quite a young age that none of the people who were supposed to help me or said they were helping me were actually helping me. How can you help if you don't hear what I say or if you decide to change my words to suit your version of me? The only people I felt were actually on my side always was my mum and my dad. Others were stigmatising me, ignoring me, basing my future off my biological parents' failures, and I mean everyone. My mum and dad did try to help me, but there wasn't much they could do. As I said before, docs who had all the parental responsibility and all the power no longer considered them part of my life. I was just supposed to forget them, but they raised me. Doesn't that mean anything? During my time in care, I didn't know anything about my biological mother or even who she was, just a name, but docs knew. It felt like I had my right to know my mother taken from me. It felt like I had my life ripped out from underneath me, and I felt like the only person I ever had was me. I used to try and hide the fact that I was a foster kid because people would constantly judge me or act like I'd done something wrong once they knew. What made that even harder was that most people in the town that I grew up knew who my biological father was, and so they also based me off him. During my time in care, it was like the system that was supposed to protect and support me had let me down. I mean, some of my caseworkers, other workers, and well, people in general were just waiting for me to fail. Constantly telling me I'd be nothing, I'd end up in jail, or whatever else they had to say, but I always knew they were wrong. The only person that truly knows you is you. And if you believe in you, then so will someone else. No child deserves to feel alone, unloved, unprotected, and hopeless. And no parent of any kind deserves to feel as though they don't have a right to protect the child they love and care for. You know when you have an idea of who you want to be or where you want to go, but you're afraid? That was me. I was afraid because I thought life was stacked against me. And I was afraid because I didn't think I'd ever overcome the tag foster child. Then I thought, hang on a second. My very existence is defying the odds. I stopped being afraid when I realised, hey, I'm a fighter. I mean, I can survive anything. I survived the first 5 years of my life. I survived the journey from age 15 to 18. And so I just kept telling myself that. Every day I'd wake up and remember, I'm a fighter. I felt like after everything that had happened in my life, there was nothing that could stop me from getting where I wanted to be. I remember doing my leaving care plan, and when docs asked me about education, I said I wanted to study psychology at uni. I actually got my leaving care plan, and next to education it said, Certificate in Community Services at TAFE. Again, they were not hearing me or understanding, and they were underestimating me. The reason I mention this is because after my 18th birthday in the new year, I met my stepson and my current fiance, who I've been with now for almost 10 years. I found another part of my forever family. Not long after meeting my fiance, I enrolled in a bridging course, kind of like Year 12, at the University of Newcastle. And upon finishing, that's right, I applied to study psychology, a Bachelor of Psychology honours. And guess what? I got early acceptance. I still study this today, and am the only person in my biological family to have ever attended university. In 2017, I attended my very first Create conference. I arrived at my hotel extremely nervous and very unsure of myself. I noticed a man in a purple shirt, Create shirt, and asked him if he was there for the conference. He said yes, and after chatting for a while, he asked me if I was a young consultant. I had no idea what that was. And so I just replied, no. He simply responded, okay, well, all the young consultants and myself are coming upstairs for free pizza. Join us. Free pizza. Of course I joined them. After the pizza, I asked the man that I met before in the purple shirt if I could help at the conference like the other young consultants. Unfortunately, he told me I'd just dobbed myself in. And then I said, what do you mean by that? He said, no one asks if they can help. The next day, he made me an unofficial young consultant. He gave me a shirt, and this man still works at Create today, and many of you know him as Lucas. So Lucas, I'd like to take this second to say thank you. Thank you for being one of those people who supported me and that believed in me and continues to believe in me to this day. After the conference in 2017, I wanted to be a young consultant so bad that I contacted Create constantly. I ended up attending all 3 Speak Up training courses with every Create worker I met believing in me, especially Hope and Jordan, but unfortunately they have left the New South Wales Create team. Since completing my Speak Up training, I've co-facilitated caseworker training, spoken at Speak Up courses to new young consultants. I was a voter on the Advocate for Children and Young People Awards. I've spoken on a panel board, done an ABC TV interview, written for the Create magazine, been in a local paper, and participated in almost every event Create has had since 2017. That includes making Create birthday cards. Not that long ago, someone who believed in me a little more than I think I believe in myself sometimes, Jackie invited me to speak at Create's birthday gala. After speaking there, I felt so proud of myself for the first time. Not only did I believe in myself, I had others believing in me, and they were actually listening to me. And for once, nobody stigmatised me or judged me or said I'm sorry. So I'd just like to take a second to thank Jackie for always believing in me and being like a second mum by providing me the stepping stones to follow my passion. I still contact Create to this day, and I'm 26. I try to get involved in as many events and as opportunities as possible. I guess you could say I'm kind of like their Rash. My goal in life is to empower other young people to become better versions of themselves, the best versions of themselves possible. Because every child out there is just one caring adult away from a success story. Being part of Create has made me realise that I do matter. They've allowed me to follow my passion, the thing I love, and that's speaking out and being able to open up other people's eyes to what really goes on, which allows me to roar for those who whisper. A friend of mine who is also a former foster child has a tattoo that I think sums up every foster child in this room. Her tattoo reads, "It's the children the world destroys that grow up to save it." I mention her tattoo because every single one of you in this room has something very special. It's not something everyone has. It's not something you can be taught or learnt. It's not something anyone can give you, and it sure as hell ain't something anyone can take away from you. It's your resilience. It's your will to fight for you. And research shows that it's one of the 8 core abilities that drive successful children. Resilience is your ability to meet and overcome challenges, and it incorporates attributes like persistence and determination. Before I end my speech, I'd just like to point out that every single one of us in this room belongs to a minority. Foster carers, workers, young people in care, etc. When Martin Luther King gave his I Have a Dream speech, it was to a minority of his own. And look at the effect his minority had on the majority at the time. I also have a dream. I have a dream that together we are able to make a major impact on the system to evoke positive changes that benefits everyone involved in the care system. I'd just like to end by saying it's because of people in my life, like my mum, my dad, Jackie, Lucas, Moira, the whole Create team, Hannah, Steph, my fiance Peter, and my stepson Ben, and my friends Josh, Ali, and Joe, and sorry, I forget your name. And sorry if I missed anyone, which I bet I did, that I am the success I am today. But I know I had to believe in myself first, and now you just have to start believing in you.
What a speech. Thanks, Keyarnee. That was amazing. Thank you.